All right, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful day. The market was a lot more exciting than yesterday, but if you looked by the end of the day, we ended up where we started. It was half of the day going down, the other half melting up, and if you pull the chart back, believe it or not, this is like the same level we were at 2 Thursdays ago and pretty much where we ended the week last week after that expiration. Pretty wild, but it makes a lot of sense because tomorrow you get Jerome Powell. So I have the final update for you today. We are going to go over the FOMC statement, and I am going to show you what to look for. If you feel like you are behind, you need to watch yesterday's video and the one before that because we talked about the two other factors. So remember, tomorrow, Jerome Powell, 2 p.m. Eastern. That is when the release happens. 30 minutes after that, Jerome Powell, he comes on. He doesn't run like that, but he goes in front of the mic, and then he starts to tell you a lot of what he has already told you before, but that is at 2:30. We will be live, youtube.com/the stock market. It's free 99, live interpretation, everything you need. We will have it there right on schedule. So, Chad, get ready. Tomorrow will be a big day. Again, regardless of what you see here, there was movement in bonds. There was even stuff with oil. There will be a lot riding on tomorrow. And just remember, right afterwards, we get into the Bank of Japan on Friday, and before you know it, it's the last week of September, and then everyone's already talking about seasonality, and then we get into October and the end of the year. So, Chad, I got all that for you. I got the breakdown. I got a couple of plays for you. We could even talk about the Instacart IPO, and then we're going to go over the Fed and get ready for tomorrow. So drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed. I'm about to get you the news, so run it, baby.
Working to the couch, it's the 2020 election. Live in the hills, but I still get a spread. Started with a live, but I still reinvest it. Feel how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but they sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down, hold it.
Ball right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring to you news, Josh, but with a normal voice. But my accompanying pictures, they will be me typing in the headline into AI and seeing what comes out. But as far as what happened today, it was a very simple one, not much headlines. There was August U.S. housing starts. They came in weaker than consensus, though the permits were better. Canada CPI, that was a big deal in the morning. It surprised to the upside on higher gas prices with a lot of attention on the acceleration of the 3-month core measures. The auto strike continued to get outsized attention, and the UAW threatened to widen the work stoppage. The U.S. government shutdown risk was another area of focus, and McCarthy's plan is already facing meaningful resistance from the GOP, and a potential Thursday vote was put on hold today. Also, there was more discussion about the upcoming resumption of student loan payments, and then elsewhere, you had the OECD raising their 2023 global growth outlook, but they cut their outlook for 2024 while also saying central banks should keep rates high until clear signs of inflationary pressures have eased. So that was all of your headlines. I will give you these. I post these in the description. I've been doing it for the last couple weeks if you have been missing out. If I ever fail to recap anything, I encourage you to look below and I will have a bunch of headlines. So as you see, 0-day options, they make up 40% of S&P volume, but only 7% of the outlay. More companies want to IPO, but consultants are saying the pipeline's unprepared. Microsoft leaks show plans for possible Xbox 2024 refresh. Musk says the move to a monthly subscription-based model may happen to combat bots. Amazon planning to increase average pay for logistic workers, hiring 250,000 in logistics staff, and then Instacart achieves a $14 billion valuation. So that's all company related. Everything else, go to the description. You'll find it. But now that we have that out the way, let's talk about the Fed. Thankfully, this one's going to be a lot more simple. Again, as we started on Sunday, we talked about why this meeting is so important. Why is it important? The SEP, the Summary of Economic Projections, happens once every 3 months. 3 months ago, that was the biggest Fed meeting. This month, it'll probably happen again, but what we are looking for is a change in the terminal rate expectations by the Fed, pretty much where they think we're going to end up. And the problem right now is that the terminal from 3 months ago is still one rate cut higher or one rate hike higher than where we are right now. So that's what we started with. Yesterday, we talked about the dot plot and Wall Street's obsession towards it. And now today, this is what we brought up a little bit. Remember this chart I brought up and this everything. I want you to read it here. There's a lot of good takeaways, and this does give you a nice summary. So I hope you are up to speed. But as you see there, it mentions the statement, and that is what we are going to be talking about today. What I want to show you, and if you've noticed, I've done all of this in the past. Every single one of these videos this week, I've usually focused on it of the week of the Fed, but I've only done just that. But this time, uniquely, they are all coming together. And what I'm trying to tell you is we've analyzed this statement before. We've monitored the SEP. We have gone over the dot plot when Wall Street has been obsessed with it. So I hope you get what I'm saying here. This is, we have to look at all of them this time around to see what's going on. But thankfully, the statement is actually the easiest one, and it is the first one. So let me actually set this up again. If you don't know how to get to it, just like yesterday, monetary policy, meeting calendars and information, and then go down and you will see statement, PDF, or HTML. So what I want to do is I want to open up the June statement and the July. Like I told you, throughout this year, you have watched me compare these two several times. Depending on what's going on, we've paid more attention pretty much to all of this. Let me see. Can I get this one up ahead? There you go. There you go. We're going to make this look pretty, but hopefully you see what I'm saying here, and you should be somewhat experienced. If you're new, I'm glad to expose you to this, but what you want to be looking for tomorrow is any changes to the statement. And now tomorrow, we are expecting slight changes. Why? Because the last three statements have been altered. If you don't remember, this is why I'm glad I have the June statement up here. Do you guys remember it was in June where they decided to maintain the target range, holding the target range steady? That was in June. And then the next meeting, they decided to raise the target range, and then they said they will continue to assess additional implications. Remember, when the statement started changing 3 months ago, this is what we were really reacting to, and it had to do with the whole pause, stop, start, stop, start. So to give you context, and this is why understanding all of this is important, don't forget, last Fed meeting was the hawkish pause. Why? Because they raised rates, but they outlined that they were going to pause. So what does that mean for this time around? We should expect a statement like this, where it says something along the lines of maintaining the target range instead of raising, and them giving a reasoning as to why they are holding the target range. In June, they said it is for them to allow the committee to assess additional information, the implications of monetary policy, and then determining what they need to do and all of that. Here, the latest one in July, they said they raised, and then we're going to continue to assess additional implications and information for monetary policy. So hopefully you get what I'm showing you right now, because if the Fed futures are guaranteeing a pause tomorrow, that means this statement has to change. But what people are going to be looking for is whether it's a subtle change that goes back to the language of June, or do they try to Jerome Powell, Brady it, try to toe the line and come up with a hybrid language that gives us new information, but borderline communicates the same thing as last month? This will be the big key. If we could get a reasoning as to why they're going to be pausing or what they're looking for next, if that could even determine anything into 2024, this will be the major key. So this is the main thing we're going to be looking for, I guess, the broader stuff. But now let's dive into it a little bit. And let me give you the second thing. This one is kind of, I don't know, I don't want to call it tertiary, but it's more in terms of like interpretation and market moves. What I want you to understand about the statement, this is the first thing that comes out 30 minutes before Powell, especially when the statements change, because prior to this last couple months where the statements started changing, it was like a year and a half of these statements being exactly the same, meaning the market really didn't move when the reaction came out, and then it would only move on Powell. But lately, there is an opportunity to move off the statement tomorrow, depending on what changes we get in the writing. So that's why I'm saying we have to watch this first thing, be aware of all this, and this will tell you a lot. Pretty much, if they go to a pause and this statement is dramatically different than here, than what we saw in June, and that's going to be a reference, that is where the market will probably get a little bit more volatile off the release until Powell makes it worse or makes it better. Other than that, though, besides, like we've said, waiting for the main juice and understanding it's going to be a pause, what you have to look for is the first paragraph. This is what they changed last time. This is where they've been going back and forth. But what do they say? In June, they said recent indicators suggest economic activity has continued to expand at a modest pace. Job gains have been robust. Yabba dabba dooba. What did they say in July? Recent indicators suggest that economic activity has been expanding at a moderate pace. And then job gains have been robust. And then they talk about unemployment and obviously inflation. But hopefully you see here, if something really changed with the data and they're worried or there is going to be a major change, then this should also change. And that could be a big deal. But now, before I get ahead of myself, and this is how I got to wrap this all up here for you, is simply no big changes are expected tomorrow. So like I'm saying, if it is dramatically different than June in a pause, oh my gosh, you're going to get activity. If they want to explicitly outline the higher for longer and what they will continue to assess to give you what you want, oh my gosh, that would be so telling and it would give us a lot of info, cause a lot of market moves. If they change the inflation outlook in the statement, if they said anything about a drastic difference, moderate or modest, something bigger than that on the economy, on jobs, people will react. However, that's not supposed to happen. And the whole idea is that Powell, as you see, by constantly doing this, it has allowed him this ambiguity, this strategic ambiguity to kind of keep moving through without having to deal with some of the stuff he was dealing with last year when it was very volatile and everybody was very responsive to everything that was being said from the Fed. So, like I'm saying, this is what we're watching for. Keep your eyes out. If anything happens, you're going to know right when this comes out. This is where we want to look. Look for the change of language. Right now, it should be where it doesn't change too much. Basic changes, stuff that we are familiar with, something that is ambiguous and doesn't give too much outline. But if not, you should know to react immediately now, and we'll see what happens. So, Chad, I hope you're ready for it. I hope all these videos have prepared you, but it's going to be an exciting day. Hopefully, we see you live, but now let us get into the plays. So, right off the bat, I got 3 different plays, and I'm going to start with the first one that we talked about yesterday. I closed out my 2-year bond. Fine. I only held it for a couple months, and even then, I had plays on the yen shares around the same time. Oh my gosh, YCL shares barely moved compared to any of this too, so I was happy about that. Remember, more leverage on smaller moves could create bigger losses, but if you went small on some of them, these things haven't moved. And why I'm bringing that up is because this is what I was saying yesterday, the whole 2001 through 2006, but just take a look. Bro, this is pinned. Go look right now, TLT, IEF in the bonds, and this is why tomorrow is going to be so important. They're right back to the lows they hit about a month ago when things were getting kind of crazy. So it's kind of ironic because they're still holding their pin there, but hopefully you see what I'm saying. From the 2-year all the way down, these haven't moved, but now it's after this, depending on how this goes, where things are at, even the Bank of Japan, the bonds really start wanting to move towards the end of the year, and that goes crazy. We may watch that 2001 scenario play out, and that'll lead us right into 2024. So I closed out that play. Should you be focused on that play? No. What you should be focused on is oil, because that's the thing that finally moved it. Again, like I said, I wanted to hold these bonds. I did that curve flattening play, but there was I wanted to see something, and I couldn't really explain it, but it was one of those moments. You'll know it when you see it, and very well, I think it's oil that now the rates are creeping up, same time as oil. That wasn't happening last time we made any of these plays. Now they're starting to work together, and that very well may be it. So that's what I will be writing, and that's something I'm going to add for some of the Fed plays tomorrow. How oil reacts tomorrow, it very well could have a big deal. Again, a pause, whatever happens, whatever is signaled, watch how oil is there, and then even wait for oil questions on the press conference. So that is play number 1. Keep that in mind. Then play number 2. I don't know if you're going to like this. I lost $100 on it because I did a 10-minute play, but Instacart. It was the IPO. I played it towards the end of the day. I thought I was going to do the little 10-minute go crazy. I did 100 shares. I ended up losing, but we did not play it from the beginning, and it didn't meet criteria. That's why I only made a 10-minute play. Maybe I'll get lucky. Again, I haven't made too many trades here. I'm slowing down a little bit, but I wanted to. But honestly, I should just take my bill and be a happy, happy man. But Cart did not meet criteria. It traded half of the float in 12 minutes, but it had a 40% premium. They traded the whole 22 million share offering, but it's still at a 10% premium. And even then, I think it was a little higher, even towards when I made the play. So if it comes back down below IPO price, I'm down to play it. Otherwise, I went for that last 10-minute play. But now I think it's very interesting we're getting IPOs. It says a lot about the market, how people feel, and everyone keeps talking about valuations. But I said this today, and it kind of blew some people's minds. But I'll just tell you, if companies are IPOing and big ones that you know about, nobody cares about PE right now because otherwise these companies would not be IPOing. Again, when people are worried and more cautious and focusing on fundamentals, that's why I remember 2022, what IPOs did you see? You know what I'm saying? The deals, the funding, it all dried up, but it's interesting to see this. So I'm only looking at the criteria, and that's why I'm saying just take a step back. It's going to be based on momentum, but if you're trying to find value on these plays, I mean, they are not there. So if you're going to ask me for the long term, no, unless you really love these companies, want to start off an average. But what I'm trying to tell you, if you're hitting IPO, that's a jacked up price, and that is what we're doing, and it seems like the market's supporting it. So watch out for that. That's play number 2. I'm sure we'll get more action. Again, even ARM fell 2. And then play number 3. Again, I will be watching a lot of Powell tomorrow, and I still got plays like Netflix, AMD, and a couple of others, but I'm going to be watching wheat. Again, we've been bringing it up a little bit here, but with all the oil stuff, if that starts to go, wheat is going to get very interesting, especially with this September seasonality and where we're going into all of this. But I've been talking about oil a lot, and like we've been saying, is it the most important thing right now? No. Can it be? Yes. Right now, it's starting to creep up. It's not like we're focusing on it, and that's why we have Powell and all that, and that's why I haven't made these plays yet, but I will be keeping an eye on wheat because depending on how things develop, and even how this week showed us, it could happen pretty quick. I do think we're going to get a lot of action there, so we will see what happens. But Chad, that is everything. I have no more plays. All I am doing is now getting excited for tomorrow. We are going to be live on the 2K tonight on the Twitch. I'll see you there. But now, that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate, healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. And I need you to remember, have no fear. I don't know. If you got a finger to the sky, have no fear, but I don't even care what you believe, for real. That is not going to help you. You have a goal, you have a mission, and that spirit of fear, it's not real. It does. I'm just saying, you need to get what you want, go. Be pursuant of everything, but at the same time, come from it with the right spirit of love. And that's what I'm saying, though. Why do I say no fear, bro? Because listen, you want love, you can't have fear. I don't know if y'all feel. That's what I'm saying. What's up? Where my hippies at, Chad? I don't know if they feel me, bro. So I love y'all. God bless you, and let's go. Have no fear, bro. I will see you tomorrow. I'll see you every day. God bless the Chad. Let's keep it going. And then that's it. I think is it too hype? Just see me on 2K, bro. Let me. I'm too. Okay, I'm leaving. I'll see you guys. Horde.